I now want to shift to Kyle Pitts. So Kyle Pitts is a tight end / wide receiver prospect out of the University of Florida. He had a great year this past year. He dominated college football. He is 6'6", 240 pounds. He runs the 40-yard dash in 4.4 seconds. He has a crazy vertical jump, great hands. He's everything you look for in a tight end prospect. And Mel Kiper Jr. recently came out and said that he believes Kyle Pitts might arguably be the best tight end prospect that he's ever evaluated. And Mel Kiper Jr. has evaluated a lot of good prospects, okay? So, Kyle Pitts is getting all this buzz and all this hype. Today, I wanted to answer the question, is Kyle Pitts the next elite tight end in the National Football League? And look, the potential is definitely there. But I will say this. The greatest tight ends of all time aren't usually the most hyped up guys. And usually, they're not the first ones off the board come draft night. Shannon Sharp, one of the greatest tight ends of all time, he was a 7th round pick. Rob Gronkowski, he was a 2nd round pick. Travis Kelce and George Kittle, the 2 best tight ends in all of football right now, they were not 1st round picks. Mark Andrews, he's one of the 5 best tight ends in all of football. He was not a 1st round pick. And the last let me just give you a couple of tight ends over the past couple of years that have gotten similar hype to Kyle Pitts. These guys weren't quite as hyped up as Kyle Pitts, but they were pretty hyped up, I would say. People were saying, oh, these tight ends are the next generational talent. The next Rob Gronkowski. They're going to change NFL teams. They're going to change NFL offenses. O.J. Howard was talked about in that breath out of Alabama several years ago. O.J. Howard is about the 3rd best tight end on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers roster right now. He's been a disappointment, okay? T.J. Hockenson, he's good, but he was getting compared to Rob Gronkowski coming out of Iowa. I think he's a good player that has a chance to be a Pro Bowl player for a long time, but hasn't quite lived up to the hype. Remember Vernon Davis coming out of college? Everyone said Vernon Davis is this next great athlete, this transcendent player. Vernon Davis was a good player and even a great player for about a season or two, but he never lived up to the hype. And look, I love what Kyle Pitts brings to the table, and I just wanted to point out those other prospects just because history is not on Kyle Pitts' side. History suggests that even though Kyle Pitts is 6'6", 240 pounds, runs the 40-yard dash in 4.4 seconds, history suggests that Kyle Pitts is not going to be as great as we think he can become. Obviously, there's the Mike Dickens of the world, a guy that was drafted in the top 5, and he became a Hall of Famer. Maybe Kyle Pitts is that guy. I'm interested to see how it plays out. I will say, I would be comfortable taking Kyle Pitts with a top 5 pick. I would, because I love the elite traits. I do think he's a little bit slower on the actual football field than as opposed to what he tests as far as, with the combine drills, he runs a 4.4 40-yard dash. I don't always see 4.4 speed on tape. He's definitely very fast, but not quite that fast. I think he's a little bit slower than people are willing to give him credit for. Okay, and I'll say this. In order for Kyle Pitts to maximize his skills, I think he needs to go to a team that will be able to get the most out of him. What if Kyle Pitts goes to Miami and Tua Tagovailoa isn't good enough? What if he goes to Carolina and Sam Darnold isn't good enough? What if he goes to Atlanta and flops? I think it's going to work in Atlanta. Recently, in my most recent mock draft, I had Kyle Pitts going to the Falcons with the number 4 overall pick. I think it's going to work, but I thought Odell Beckham Jr. was going to work in Cleveland. It didn't work out. Maybe Matt Ryan doesn't have great chemistry with Kyle Pitts. Does that speak to the actual organization and the quarterback? Or does that speak to Kyle Pitts as a player? All I'm saying is there's so many factors that factor into if a player is great or not. You need to be in a great system. You need to be in a good situation. And as a pass catcher, you need a great quarterback around you. So I really want to see Kyle Pitts go to a team that's going to use him in very creative ways and allow him to be himself. And I will say, I'm betting on Kyle Pitts potentially being a Pro Bowl level player potentially one day. Okay, I think he's going to make a couple of Pro Bowls. I don't know if he'll ever be the transcendent player we think he's going to be, but it won't shock me just because, like I said, the elite traits are there. However, I will say, if Kyle Pitts, for whatever reason, fails to meet expectations in the NFL, it might be because he's not the greatest separator. He doesn't create separation at an elite level. He's good at it, but he's not great at it. You know, he more times than not gets away with his athletic ability and his God-given talent. Not always the most technically sound guy when you watch him, but there's a lot to like. And I would definitely pick him in the top 5 because I think the traits are definitely there. And I'm willing to take a big swing and see what happens. Maybe I hit a home run. Maybe I hit a double. Either way, I think his floor is significantly high. I believe you're going to get a good player regardless of what happens. You know, will he ever be great? Will he ever be transcendent? We'll see what happens. I'm excited to find out. Thank you so much for watching this video today. Please also note that the Juiciest Sports Podcast is not just a YouTube channel. It is available on all podcasting platforms, including Spotify, Google Podcasts, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts. Also, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share this content with all your friends. This podcast is my favorite thing in the entire world right now. It is my passion. And I want more people to listen to this podcast. I really want this podcast to grow. Also, a fun fact about me is that I want to go into the sports broadcasting and media world once I graduate from the University of Toledo, a college in Northern Ohio. I am looking to become one of the next great sports broadcasters and analysts out in the world. And I potentially would like to start my own network if this podcast really truly grows. Or if I fall short of that goal, I would love to work for a big-time network like ESPN or Fox Sports 1. I am open to all networks. So if you believe in my dreams and you see or hear my passion through the screen, be sure to tell all your friends about the Juiciest Sports Podcast. Stay motivated, you guys. Have a God-blessed day, and I'm out.